This is, in my opinion, the very best, most ultimate live streaming setup you can possibly do from a home setting like what I'm in right here. So I'm going to show you all the stuff that I've figured out on how to make this all work in a really, really cool and actually pretty easy way. Something I'm really fired up about, mostly because it helps my post-processing process be way, way less. I can basically get through tons and tons of stuff. I can create more footage because at the end of the day, I don't actually have to edit anything. It's pretty awesome. So we're going to run through this entire video in a live stream-esque kind of format. I will do some post-processing on it because there will be some screens that I'm going to show that will have keys on it that I don't really want to share. So that's the only reason this isn't actually going to be completely live streamed. That, and it'll also allow me to show you some stuff on how to set up the live stream, because it'll be me turning on and off the live streaming process, which if I was doing a real live stream, I wouldn't be able to do and show you. So this is all the whole thing is done, but through the power of the ATEM Mini Pro switcher from Blackmagic Design. And I'm recording everything onto an external SSD directly off of the ATEM Mini Pro. So super fired up about this. I'm going to go through the wiring setup I have, the full internet connection that I'm using, the best settings that I've found, the entire studio setting that I'm basically shooting in, how to connect to Facebook Live, and then probably even how to connect to YouTube Live. I don't do Twitch at all, but that's another possibility. And yeah, just all the internal settings, just how the whole thing is set up and why it works awesome. So let's get into it. So first thing, let's switch over here to this camera. So this is my screen here that I'm working on. And as you can tell, I have a picture-in-picture setup, and this is the larger one that comes default. And I'm going to show you exactly why I've set up the things that I have. And just to give you an idea, I'm going to switch back to me. The reason I have this set up the way I do is because majority of what I do is I have guests on a real estate investing show where I basically, I have them on and we do like a live stream thing through a webcam. So there'll be a webcam guest. I'll be here in studio switching everything up through this switcher. And that's basically how I run things. If you have a similar setup, I think you're going to learn a lot from what I've got here. And honestly, it's been blowing my mind. So I'm excited to share it with you guys. So like I said, we're going to go back to my screen here. So here we have the ATEM Mini Pro screen. This is the setup screen that you get to. And so this is an important part of how I do my picture-in-picture settings. So I personally prefer the cut bus setting right here. And I over the program preview. If you do program preview, when you switch to buttons, it's a two-step process. So you have to hit it turns green, and then you hit the cut or the auto button. And it's just too slow for me. I like to be able to just cut straight to the other camera angle. Even if I make a little mistake, there's just too many buttons to fiddle with while I'm talking with someone. So that's why I do it that way. And then I have the picture-in-picture here, stay on with transition. So what that means is I switch to here, and when I switch back, it'll automatically be on. And I don't know if it's intended to be this way or if it's buggy, but I actually love how it's set up right now. I would think that this stay on with transmission button would be that the picture-in-picture just stays on all the time, but that's not how it works for me. How it works for me is I'll switch to camera 1 right here. Do I have camera 2 on yet? No. Switch that on still. Sorry about that. So camera 2 is not on yet. And then this is camera 3 is set up with my laptop. And then camera 4 is set up on my desktop. And my desktop is over on the other side of the room over there. One of the really cool things about the ATEM Mini Pro is you can use a whole variety of different computers to control the ATEM Mini Pro software. So you can have somebody that's just running the streaming software for you while you have talent on camera or yourself on camera for that matter. And you can switch between, what in the world is going on here? Let me get this thing going. Okay. I think that, yep, there we go. That camera's on now too. So right now, camera wise, I have a 5D Mark IV, and then I have a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema 4K on the other camera. So going back to our picture-in-picture settings. So here we have camera 1, camera 2, camera 1, camera 2. So you can see the picture-in-picture stays on when I switch to another angle. If I go over here to camera 3 and then I go to camera 2, as you can see, every time I toggle it, it goes on and off, on and off. See what I mean? Every time it's on off. So if you wanted your picture-in-picture to not be on your main camera and basically repeat itself, but then go over here to camera 2 and repeat itself, you just have to tap the camera 2 button again, and then the picture-in-picture will basically toggle with that button, which I think is pretty cool. So there's that. I'm gonna toggle that back on for that one. And then when I go here, it should be on. When I go here, it should be off. When I go here, it should be on. Here, it should be off. So if you're switching back and forth like that, it works really, really great because you can keep yourself on the shot the whole time, which I think is pretty cool. So that's what the stay on transmission is doing for me. And then, yeah, stay on with transmission. I don't use the chroma key here. I don't know. I think they're amazing. I've shot in some amazing, like multi-million-dollar studios where they have this stuff, and it was like many, many years ago. So it's really cool that this kind of functionality is built into something so small and simple, because that was extremely expensive years ago. And yeah, so it's just cool to have that power and that functionality, but I don't use it. Maybe I will someday, but I don't use it right now. So that's that. And then, we'll go over here to my software. So I've got this set up, and I actually have it set up. Let me grab my mouse real quick. I also have it set up on my desktop. Let's drag that over. So this is my desktop. This is my laptop. And as you can tell, I'm running the software control on multiple computers. Now, why would you want to do that? I will show you. So if you go over here, that is way too small. I'll use this one. So there's a bunch of these different tabs here. One of the things that I really, really like is this one right here. This is a camera control tab. So I can control my camera 1 settings, which is my Blackmagic Pocket Cinema 4K camera. So I can adjust all those. If I had multiple cameras, I'm probably going to buy another one of those cameras, and then it'll be camera 2, and I'll sell my my 5D. Probably get the R5. And yeah, so there's that. You can dynamically adjust the audio settings. I'll go over why I have the audio settings set up the way that I do in here in a little bit. And then this is your media panel. This is where you have all your logos and stuff. Basically, you can just drop a bunch of these in here, and then you like load them in over here, or you go over here to your media player and then select it here. And then the way you toggle it on and off is just like that. So you just go like that, or if you want it to fade in and out, you can hit the fade in and out. So if you want an overlay like this, you can overlay it like that and look super snazzy and super cool. And I use this mostly with lower thirds. I find if I'm just running everything myself, it becomes really hard to change all of these media player settings, because I'm usually running everything through my laptop that's sitting right in front of me. And I'll share with you that angle in a minute from that camera. Exactly how all of this stuff is setting up from another perspective. But what am I getting at here? Yeah, so this shows the power and the usefulness of having another person controlling the other one, because if I'm over here live streaming something from Facebook Live, and I have that screen on, if I want to change any settings on the in ATEM Mini Pro, it interrupts the whole show, because that's right in front of the screen that the guest is speaking from. So that's kind of like the guest camera. I don't want an overlay of the control software over the guest camera, I would much rather have somebody else controlling that, and that would be on the camera, on the computer over there. So they would be able to then load media settings and stuff into there. So I found another solution to doing that, to being able to load graphics dynamically while you're running a show from one computer and you're running on another. And I'm going to share that with you right now, which I think is a really cool trick. So what I do on my other computer is I will basically create all the slides in like a Google Slides presentation. And then I will basically just have them all loaded in. And so let's say I'm talking, switching to the guest. They're over here hanging out. So that's great. So let's go on to our next question, right? And Josh, you don't need to be on there. So let's switch to our next question. Okay, cool. So this is, what are you doing during this lockdown period? So then we can go back to me talking about, whatever the lockdown issue question was, and then back to the guest, and they're here talking to us, telling us all about whatever their guest stuff is, or whatever the answer to their question is. And then I can easily switch back and forth. And while this screen is on, while my guest is on, I can go over and actually, let me show you this. Okay. While my guest screen is on, I can go here and switch to feed 4 on my program monitor. And I have a little monitor right here that shows basically whatever your feeds are. And feeds come in right here. Super helpful on the ATEM Pro because you have your multi-view, your program, or any of the individual camera feeds. And I'll show you that with them as I switch it. So multi-view, program, and this is, ideally you would want a larger monitor than this, but this is just the one that I had laying around. So you can see all of these different angles. And these are not switching the camera angles on the feed. That's what these buttons do over here. These buttons here actually switch the feed. This is just showing you what that feed looks like. So it's kind of like a preview monitor in a way, that way. And so yeah, I'll check while I'm talking to the person, I'll check over here. I'll check that screen. And then if I want to go to the next slide, I just scroll my mouse down to the next slide, make sure that slide's looking good. All right, it is. So I'll switch back to my program monitor, and then I'll switch back to my guest, continue on with my guest. Then I can switch to camera 4, has my camera 4 angle, which is the screen from my desktop over there, shows my graphic overlay, and I can scroll through these graphics so easily this way. So I'm just scrolling my mouse wheel. And so that's basically what I'm doing. So then we'll go, oops, not that camera angle right now. So here I'm back to me. All right, so I'm just gonna set this camera here. Sorry, it's a little shaky. I'm just kind of doing this on the fly. I really didn't plan this video out very much. I just thought it would be really helpful for some people. So I'm just kind of going through it. So that's one trick I learned for the media player, to be able to load those kinds of graphics and stuff. So these work great because you have transparency over it. You can't do that if you're switching those two camera angles, at least not, I don't know how to do it. Maybe there's a way through the keyer or something. Yeah, so if you want to do lower thirds or graphic overlays or something maybe in the corner, this is still the way to do it, through their media player dialog box or whatever you want to call it. So that's that. Over here to the audio settings, this is how I have mine set up. I tried a lot of different methods, just doing they have the other settings down here. Oops, let me get you that camera angle. They have these settings here where you can change your, split your audio into multiple channels. I played with this like crazy and I wasn't really able to get it to do what I wanted. What I really want is one camera feed from myself, my voice, to be on one channel, and I want my guest's voice to be on another channel. So that's how I have this set up right now. So as you can see, if you look closely, I am on the left channel on the stereo input. This is the final output right here that is being recorded directly into my SSD drive right back there. So there's my SSD drive just recording away this whole thing, as you can see right there. So, and you can tell I'm not live, not on air, because we're going to go over that in just a minute. But that's basically what that looks like. So I have it set up right now so that we can do, oops, sorry about that. We have this set up so that channel 1, A camera, which is the one on me, has the left channel going in. And the way I've done that is just with the panner. And you can see I have channel 3 set up as the laptop screen, and that's all the way there panned over to the right channel. So when I have a guest on, they take up the right channel, I take up the left channel, and then if I want to in post, I can do a stereo feed on both of those by splitting the channels in Resolve. It's really easy to do. It takes just a few seconds. And then you get 2 feeds in all in a live setting, which is pretty awesome. And it'll make it so if I'm ever speaking over somebody, I try not to do that, but if I'm ever speaking over them, I don't kind of ruin that audio, and I can bring, something, and I can bring the levels up and down if I need to. It just gives so much more flexibility and control that way. Let's go over how I have everything wired. So starts with the Blackmagic Design camera right there. You can see that one right there. That's the Pocket 4K. It also starts, sorry, I just had to touch the mic because I bumped it. Starts with this. This is a Rode NTG3 shotgun mic. I have it literally just wired with command strips up to the ceiling. Some sound panels up there. I have another video all about making those, by the way. Comes down here, runs under, and then actually the screen, the audio cable I have running directly into the side of the Blackmagic Pocket camera because it can phantom power mics, which is one of the great things about that camera. It's fantastic. Then I have that camera feed basically coming out of the side of the camera through HDMI. I have it plugged into AC power, so that's what those 3 plugs are: is AC power, HDMI, and XLR in. So then, man, this is really pretty shaky footage, isn't it? I suck at this. So then that goes into camera feed number 1. Next up, camera feed 2 is what you're seeing here. This is from the 5D Mark IV, and that's plugged into this one right here. So this is camera 1, camera 2, camera 3 is looped around and plugged right into here onto the laptop screen. So we can switch to that one. You can see the laptop screen there. And now we're back to, if I can get this thing focused and drop the ISO a little bit so you can see that a little better. Okay. I honestly never shoot video on this camera, so it's I hate not having focus peaking, if I'm honest. It is kind of, I don't know, it's kind of a crappy experience, if I'm honest. But yeah, so that's how that's set up. Then camera 4 is here on 4th input, and that runs all the way over to, crank that up, my desktop in the corner, and we've got all those wires there that I'll go over in just a minute. And then my camera is, or my other computer is over there in the corner. Lastly, this is the part where it gets really interesting. And so this is the video out monitor. So that's what this one is right here. And that comes around, goes into this little field monitor I have. And then I have this going out to the teleprompter. So in, out. So to be able to do this system, this is one of the hardware requirements you kind of need, is to have a monitor, a field monitor that can take a signal in and out through HDMI, and also a headphone jack, which is what this is right here. Because what's happening is all the sound from the laptop, all the different feeds I have, well, right now I just have feeds from the XLR mic, the Rode NTG3, and the laptop on, as you can see indicated by these red lights here. Those are just set to on. I'm basically able to get because this panel does not have a mic output, there's not really a way to monitor the sound through headphones unless you do it like this, where you have it run into a monitor, and then you have the monitor gives you a headphone out port. So that's honestly super nice, because when I'm doing an interview with someone, they sorry, there's some glare there. When I'm doing an interview with somebody, it allows me to hear what they're saying. That's kind of important. And it allows me to hear what they're saying without the speakers on the laptop, which would feed into the mic that I have here and really kind of screw up the whole sound settings, because you'd have this garbled, terrible speakers sound from the laptop speakers instead of a clean audio feed for myself, or a clean audio feed just through the wires of the connection there. So this allows me to do that, to monitor it, to hear my guests speaking. And yeah, it's basically perfect. I love how it works. The only hiccups I ever have are through Windows and the computer wanting to kind of on its own decide to just like change the audio inputs, and then I won't get sound through the HDMI. So it just takes a little bit of fiddling in the stupid settings of Windows. Bill Gates, I love what you're doing with the world, but dude, your freaking operating system needs some work, man. Like it needs work. There's so many things it could do so much better. And I feel like if somebody had even an ounce of common sense, they could get a lot of those figured out in no time. But instead, we're still left with the same problems since Windows 95. Not sure how that's possible in today's society, but it is. Okay, there's my little Windows rant. Anyway, continuing on. We have our connections here. We've got our little USB-C feeding the Samsung drive right there. You can also plug thumbnail drives into this, which is cool. And then the last one on the far right over here is power. And then this one is one I'm going to spend some time on, because this is the one that I spent a lot of time on myself trying to get dialed in just right. The Ethernet port, and basically how it connects to the internet for live streaming, and how it connects to your camera, your computer for using the ATEM control software that we have right here. This is a really important part of this. And frankly, I think it's something I sent this to Blackmagic, that I think they would be better off if the ATEM Mini Pro had two USB-C ports. If it had two USB-C ports, I think it would be perfect, because it would allow you to use one USB-C port to record to an SSD drive, and another one to feed into a laptop for live streaming, so that you can actually use the camera from your nice live camera in the feed that's being sent to your guest on the show. And so what I've done as a workaround on that is just use the laptop and the laptop's camera, so that my guest can see me and I can see them, and they can hear me through the microphone on the laptop, but my overlay and my view is, or my feed, I should say, is all going through my Blackmagic camera or my 5D, and it just looks infinitely nicer and sounds infinitely better. So I'm able to record with all of those feeds, but then when I'm talking to them, they'll see the camera feed through the webcam. So that's basically how I've set that up. It would be ideal if we had two USB-C ports, because then I could use webcam for one and record to the other. But this is the workaround that I've done. Now, as far as connections go, I've tried connecting directly to the computer with USB-C and the ATEM software control. This software control panel works great. It's totally fine, but it works. I've also connected the ATEM Mini Pro directly to the laptop through the Ethernet port, and streamed that way as well. And the way you do that is because your Ethernet port is then taken up by the cable that's plugging into the ATEM. So your only way to connect to the internet at that point is through Wi-Fi. So you basically connect to the internet through Wi-Fi. You have to change a whole bunch of settings in Windows that are a total hassle. and it's like buried pretty deep in the settings. And I did it a few days ago. I don't even remember where they are, or I'd show them to you right now. But they're there and it's doable. You can change it. It is in the settings. Go to general settings and then network connection, I think, or something like that. Yeah, it's under network connection. That's right. Network connection. You find the connection that is coming in, so that the laptop is receiving the Wi-Fi signal from, and you go to that connection because there will be all different ports in there. And then under that setting, you have to select, you have to go to property, you right click it, you go to properties, and then under there, you can select to share this network with other sources. So once that network is then shared, pretty sure that's all the stuff you had to do. You can then connect the ATEM Mini Pro directly to your laptop through the Ethernet cable and share that connection. So that's how that works. I will say though, that that's not the best solution. It works and it works pretty good, but it's not a bulletproof solution. What I have set up here is now the bulletproof solution, and now I'm going to share that with you. So here's what I've done. And I'm going to walk away from the mic a little bit, so my audio might fade out a little. But basically, which camera am I on? Oops, let me give you that one. So I'm going to walk over here. So there's a whole mess of cables down here. Yeah, awesome. This is one fun thing about the update is on the Blackmagic camera now it has this little on-air sign when it's doing a live stream thing. And I also have mine set up to actually being recording, like to actually recording to the CFast card on there. So that's why that's recording as well. So anytime I start recording on the ATEM Mini Pro, it'll automatically record here and it'll sync the time codes, which is pretty cool. So then you can have a raw 4K signal if you want to do that in post, if you want to overlay anything that way. So you have the best quality. Okay, so here's what we have. We have Ethernet right there. Bam. Ethernet into the laptop. Ethernet from the ATEM Mini Pro. It sucks that they're both blue cables because it makes it a little more confusing for this, but then they both go and they feed into this little hub that I just recently picked up. And basically I have the internet coming in here. This is just like a dummy hub. It's not a smart hub or anything. It's basically just like a router pretty much. So it comes in and then the internet comes out to my desktop, out to the laptop, out to the ATEM Mini Pro. So they're all on the same wired network then. And when you have it set up like that, the connection speeds are so much faster and I don't have any dropped frames. And I'm able to connect up a whole bunch of different computers to the software and run the ATEM software control app through all those computers and just have so much more control. So it's seriously, it's just the coolest thing. I love how this is all set up. I love how it networks together. So this is obviously not ideal. This whole thing, this drives me absolutely crazy, having wires along the ground where I can trip on it. COVID-19, I don't know if you heard of it, but it's slowing shipping down. So that's the only reason that's set up. I have a whole nother wiring system that actually goes through all the walls and stuff that's going to make that super clean, and there will be no wires anywhere. But there's a few cables that need to get here for that to work. So for now, until that arrives, that's my makeshift ghetto solution. But it works phenomenally as far as a live streaming solution. So that's my suggestion to you. Bottom line is to connect your Ethernet from both devices to your hub so that they're all hardwired together and hardwired into your Ethernet connection. Doing that, all the computers connect right away to the ATEM software control. They're all synced. It's just a beautiful system. I love it. I couldn't say enough about it. I will admit though, I am a total Blackmagic fanboy. I love most of their cameras. I love every product that I've used from them. I absolutely freaking love it. I love DaVinci Resolve. I'm constantly trying to get people to switch from Premiere to Resolve because I'm convinced that it's such a better software solution. It's just, it feels like when I have to go back to Premiere to edit stuff, it feels like going back to like Windows 95 after using, you know, like Mac OS 10 or something. So it's just like, it's that drastic and it's that bad. Well, is it that bad or is Resolve that good? I'm going to leave that up to you guys. Well, I'll give my opinion too. I think Resolve is just that good. So I love the interface for Resolve. It just makes so much more sense to me. It's so much less buggy. I have less crashes. I have less issues. I have like, it just does it. What it does ultimately, and what this ATEM Mini software, ATEM Mini Pro does, is it speeds up workflow. And to me, like, people freak out about cameras all the time that have insane resolution or whatever it may be. The reality is the best camera is not the one with the highest resolution. It's not the one with, you know, the best battery life or whatever, you know, feature you want to list. The best camera is the one that fits the best into your production system. If you don't have a production system yet, figure one out, because it makes all the difference in the world when you have a system that works for you, because then you can streamline things and then you can become profitable instead of just burning through crazy amounts of cash and crazy amounts of time. So the best camera is the one that fits the best into your production system. So yeah, everyone has a different production system. That's why there's a million cameras out there. And so for me, the Blackmagic Pocket 4K camera is my favorite. I do prefer it to the 6K camera for a few reasons. I won't get into those now. I just absolutely love that camera for its form factor. I travel a ton, so it allows me to put it deep into a camera bag. While I've had other larger cinema cameras in the past, and they take up too much space. It's just too difficult to travel with them. And they also tend to be a little cumbersome on set, in my opinion. So anyway, that's my little side note. So that's how all this stuff is set up. Next two things, I'm going to go over my actual room setting here. And then lastly, we'll actually connect up to a Facebook Live session, and I'll show you how to do that and how simple and awesome that is with all of this stuff. So the room. So here's how I have it set up. I will actually unplug that as well. Okay. And switch to camera 2. Okay, so this is how I have it set up. What do I start with? Okay, so I have a window over there. I have a tripod there, which is where I usually put my B cam on. And then I've got these sound panels up here that kind of help get rid of the echo and reverb off the ceiling. I put this mic here, this shotgun mic, NTG3, like I said, from Rode, up there. This is connected just with a command strip, so I can take it off anytime, and just like a little bit of wire, metal wire. So that goes there, off of the air vent, and down, and connects to the camera. So that's pretty sweet, because then I don't need a light stand like I said earlier. Next up, I have a light mounted up here. These are the GVM series lights. I love these things because they're so small and they're so light and their output is amazing and they're really quiet. So in a lot of ways, I think these are the perfect video lights right now. They're a Bowens mount, so they take tons of modifiers. And this wall right here, that's another sound panel right there. This wall right here I actually built to create this set with. This is actually a floating wall. So it's actually, I created a frame out of not 2x4s, but I think 1x4s or 1x3s. I don't know. They're smaller than a 2x4. And I floated this off the thing. So I made a little frame with that wood. And then I took this pallet wood that I got from a guy on Craigslist and basically just like nailed it all up. Just nail it up. Actually, I have a time lapse of that. Maybe I'll cut to it or something. And it's pretty cool. I think it looks nice. I think it looks nicer than just like the blah, like whatever painted walls over here. And I also did this little tricky thing where I like raised the outlets out of it. Here, I'll move this slide over a little bit. So I raised the outlets like so they would fit on that wall as opposed to the wall that's sitting behind. Here, I'll show you this too, actually. Oh no, my cord's not gonna reach. Yeah, I'm not fancy enough to have a wireless system here. Wireless HDMI. But here you can kind of see, it's like raised off the wall. So anyway, did that, and then I also added this kind of little snazzy ad. So this is just an LED light strip. So, it's kind of cool. So when you switch to this angle, you can see there's just like a bit of, some green or whatever color pop you want to put in there. So that's basically my setup there on this little couch. So I just thought I'd do something a little bit more interesting, get some texture going for the background. And then lighting, I have just another GVM light right here. I like these so much more than the aperture ones because they're so much smaller. Look at the size of this ballast, by the way, or this converter. I don't even know what it is, but I know the aperture one is like 18 times bigger. Comes with this huge case. This I can pack 2 of these into a Pelican 1510 case. So that's basically how I set up this room. And it cost me a few $100 or something to get everything dialed in the way that I like it. But it's good. It works for me. And it allows me to do all kinds of different things and film in a relatively pretty small space. Yeah. Now let's connect up to like a Facebook Live session. Let's do that. So I will share this screen with you and I will go over here. This is the easiest thing in the world. I think Facebook has made it a lot easier than YouTube has in this regard. But let's jump on in. So all you do is just click on create a new post and then click on this guy. And then you got your live video. Bam. So easy. Takes you right to your live video section. I love it. Use your stream key right here. And then you can see it gives me like little my webcam comes in as a default right down here. So you can see how terrible that camera looks compared to, you can see the picture-in-picture picture right above it. Night and day. I mean, it's the exact same place, but night and day difference. And then you go over here, use the stream key for the ATEM Mini Pro. Cruise on down here, copy, bam, go over here to output, and then, don't look at that. I'll have to blur out that guy. And you can see down here, I've been recording on the SSD drive. So that's where that info shows up. This is where you select your drive and all of that stuff. And anyway, so I'll just put my Facebook key right there. Bam. Check out how easy this is. Then we go on air. Cool. So now I'm going to show you this. So now that little light comes on automatically, the little on air light. So now I have both of them recording. All right, back to this guy. And now you can see it's got a little bit of a lag to it. Okay, cool. Now you can see the actual stream coming in. Over here, you can do your video title and all of that nonsense. You can schedule it, or you can just go live now. I love going live right now. I think it's super fun. It gets me excited, and it's like, I don't know, it just puts you on the spot, and I thrive on that. Somehow it's more exciting to me knowing that I can't make a mistake, or if I make a mistake, whatever. You just the show goes on. It's kind of like a live event. Much like what this video feels like right now. All right, so we're going to open this guy up, and this is basically what the screen looks like. You can tell it's got this picture in there, and it's probably going to start like going in on itself. Yeah, it's going to keep going in. So there's a little bit of a lag, and it'll just keep repeating itself and repeating itself. Anyway, here's what you need to know about the live view or the on air button. When you hit that on air button, when I first got this, I thought when you hit the on air button, it would just like go live. I didn't know, I'd never done any live streaming before this, so I didn't really quite understand how it worked. What the on air button does versus the off for your stream buttons on your ATEM Mini Pro is it's basically just sending that feed out. So think of it as now you're exporting that feed to a live stream. Now your software on, that you're using, let's say it's Facebook in this case, now it's able to pick up that feed. So we're going to switch back over here. So you can see it's a little bit delayed. This is what I'm talking here. And then all you do is just click go live, and then you actually start, the video goes live on Facebook, and then you start going. I haven't figured out, there's a little bit of a lag, as you could tell from when the video comes on. And so a lot of times when I start my live feed on Facebook, it starts on the first few seconds are me just like staring at the screen, and it's kind of awkward. I haven't figured out exactly how the timing works on that yet. I'm kind of a noob at this, and I'm really just revealing the stuff that I've learned along the way. But I have to tell you, I absolutely love doing live streaming for one reason above them all. And that is, as soon as the video is done, if you've done an okay job mixing everything, even a semi-decent job mixing everything, as soon as you're done, you have a video that's outputted right there on that drive, and you are done. You do not have post-production to deal with, which to me is basically amazing. Like, I kind of hate post-production just because of how much time it takes. I would so much rather just keep shooting stuff all the time if I could. And so being able to, in some cases, completely eliminate post-production, that's incredible. And I'll have to say, one of the only reasons I'm able to do that in a way that I really like, I should say, is because I've built my own LUTs in Resolve and put them into my Blackmagic camera. So in Resolve, it's super easy to build your own LUTs and just export them. So the idea is you get your setting of your studio set up just right. Then you get all your colors dialed in exactly right in Resolve, create that LUT, put it into your Blackmagic Pocket camera, and then you're set, because you already have your colors done. So you don't have to color grade it later, because you've already color graded it before your shoot. So you get the colors exactly how you want, and you don't have to color grade it later because your video is already done. And if you want to just make it run live, then it's already posted as well. So it's super cool. I absolutely love it. I think it's so fun, and it's so cool to be able to basically produce videos this way. And man, I honestly haven't been this excited about a camera product in years. So, and why? Because it all fits into my, it not only fits into my production system, it's actually completely improved my production system and just made it so much more streamlined. So imagine if you could take, for me, I would say 80% of my time on a video is spent in post-production. Well, maybe 10 or 20% is in production phase. So if I can eliminate that other 80%, oh my gosh. How much more time did I just free up in my life? That's so amazing. So anyway, this is my extremely positive rant about the ATEM Mini Pro. The only thing I really wish it had that it doesn't is 2 USB-C ports. If it had that, if I was being really picky, I would say, if they could maybe like mount some kind of a mounting system to it, like, maybe put like a monitor mount of some kind, like right here, like right there. That would be cool. I guess I could like glue one. What I did here, I actually have this like wood board that I put down just to make my table a little wider. This is some ghetto IKEA table. I did that. I put a little a cold shoe mount. I screwed it directly into there. And then I just have this little Manfrotto ball head on there. But I think, if I'm going to take this out into the field and use it there, I would prefer to have it just mounted right there, because then I can just set this anywhere. And I don't have to kind of come up with a method to set up this monitor somewhere. That's actually one last thing I'm going to share. That brings up a really good point. One of the reasons I got this is so that I can live stream events from the field. One of my clients has been an ongoing client for three years. Basically we've just been basically I'm subcontracted to do work for them, but getting to the point, I digress a little bit. they hold events all over the place, and they're in remote locations, like in, somebody's random house or something like that, where I don't have access to Wi-Fi. So this actually allows you to do live streaming through the tethered connection of your phone, which is pretty cool. So you can actually live stream from the field. And that was one of the big selling points for me to get the Pro over the other version, because then I can use it for client work. I can actually charge them a little bit more potentially and give them an enormous wealth of extra benefit that goes along with the shoot we're already producing. So how does that work? I have tried it where I plug the ATEM Mini through Ethernet directly to the laptop, and then I hard tether the laptop through a cable to my phone via USB, and then my phone acts as its router, basically, as its wireless router. It just works off the cell signal and gives you your internet connection that way. Wasn't the cleanest connection, as you can imagine. What I found to be infinitely better is, instead of actually live streaming it, just record everything to that SSD drive, record all your camera feeds, do all your normal switching as you would in the field, export it to that Samsung drive or that flash drive. Then if you're lucky enough to have an Android phone, then all you have to do is just unplug that out of the ATEM switcher, plug that directly into your phone. The phone will read the file as a video, as a little MP4. You go to your YouTube app and then just upload a new video directly from that file. And then you just uploaded it. It's 10 minutes behind. It's not exactly live, but it's a really stable connection. It's super smooth and it works great. So I would take stable over, and 10 minutes late than immediately live at the moment. For my needs, that will work fantastic, and I couldn't be more excited about it. If you are one of the suckers that still uses the iOS operating system, if you have a Samsung drive, you could do a Lightning to USB-C male, and that's the only cable you need, and then you're done. And then you do the same thing. You just pull up the file and then upload it directly to your YouTube app. Of course, you need to have, in that case, I would need to have my clients' YouTube login credentials to be able to log into their YouTube channel and then upload it there. But then it's done, maybe 10 minutes late, but maybe even less, to be honest. But point being, before you've already even packed up all your gear and you're out of there, your stream is done and it's sent up. So, So I hope you guys have gained something from all this. I just unloaded a mountain of information on you. This has been probably 4 or 5 days of testing every connection method I could on the ATEM Mini Pro. Things that I like to do, things I don't like to do. And, oh crap, I forgot to tell you. The main reason I use a teleprompter instead of just a screen, or no teleprompter, no screen, just looking directly into the camera, is because of one big thing. I like when I'm when I'm running a show and I have a guest on the show, I can put that feed from the guest directly on the screen immediately in front of me, right where I'm looking. So with laptops, a lot of times you're looking downward and the camera's a little bit above, so your eye line is a little bit off all the time. With this, because of how it's set up, it would be really far off. So this way I get to look directly at the person that I'm talking to, which happens to be, directly behind the camera. And they get to look directly at me as I look directly at the camera. And so eye lines and composition and stuff all works perfect. And it just feels so much more natural when you're having a conversation with somebody while using the teleprompter, having that feed going into it. It's awesome. So couldn't say enough about it. It definitely adds a lot more cost. I mean, I think this teleprompter is $1,200 or $1,500 or something like that. But if you have it already, then use it. I happen to already have a teleprompter already, so it was perfect solution. So that's why I love this. No one I've seen online is using a teleprompter in this way, and I think it is the best possible method or best possible use for it, outside of using it as an actual teleprompter for scripting purposes. So if any of you are considering the ATEM Mini Pro and you find this useful, you're welcome. Honestly, I don't care if you subscribe to me or not. I just thought this would be a fun video to produce to help somebody out there. If you want to subscribe to me, go ahead, but I don't do these videos super often. I will be doing some more videos on the sound panels and maybe something on this board back here, this backdrop that I made. I don't know, maybe not, but either way, you have a cool video about, or mostly a helpful video about the ATEM Mini Pro and what it can do, what an insane powerhouse it is. And I couldn't be happier and more thrilled about it and what it's going to do for my production streamlining in the future. That's it, you guys. I am cutting this feed and I'm out. See you later. Oh, maybe not. If you have any interest in real estate investing, that's my other channel. That's the one I spend a lot of my time on. Check it out. It's called seekingunemployment.com. I'll put the link in the description. I love real estate investing because it is a pathway to freedom. Freedom, I think, is the most paramount thing that we can all seek for in life. It basically opens up every other doorway to anything positive in life, being able to be free, dictate your own schedule, dictate how your life is going to go. That's something I'm incredibly passionate about. If I can help other people reach their own level of freedom, then I am amped on that. So if you're passionate about freedom, you care about real estate investing at all, check out my other channel. It's called seekingunemployment.com. And that's it. I'm actually wrapping this time. See you guys later.